Happy first Sunday of Advent. On Thanksgiving, two of my brothers decided to do a turkey cook-off. One of them really wanted to smoke a turkey, so we got up at like 4 a.m., put it on the smoker, had it going, and it was smoking all day. My other brother he did like this Cajun rub with all these different spices and put it on the grill with a beer can. It was super unique. I'd never seen that done before, and he had it going all day as well. And about 2:30 in the afternoon on Thanksgiving, they take him off, and I am like a puppy dog waiting for them to get him off the grill because I hadn't eaten at all that day and I was starving. I was so excited to have Thanksgiving dinner. And I remember as they're starting to carve it, I snatch like the very first piece of turkey that falls onto the cutting board. I thought for sure my brother was going to use a knife and cut my fingers off. And I was just so excited to have it. I couldn't wait. Oftentimes in life we're like that. We just can't wait. The grass is green on the other side. We just can't wait for what's coming next. I know I struggle with that my whole life, of always not satisfied with what's going on right now. I just want what's coming up in the future. I did this when I was in high school. I just couldn't wait to go to college. When I was in college, I just couldn't wait to get into to theology, to major seminary. When I was in seminary, I couldn't wait to get ordained to transitional deacon. And then once I was a deacon, I couldn't wait to get ordained to priest. And it just goes on and on and on and on. Not living in the present moment. Always not satisfied until what's coming next, in big ways and in small ways. But on this first Sunday of Advent, we're reminded in the gospel to be prepared, which means that we need to be present in this moment. We hear about it in the gospel. Jesus harkens back to the story of Noah to really emphasize this. So, you know the story of Noah. We've all heard it. We grew up probably hearing it in the different coloring books, right? Noah builds this big ark to save all the animals from the big flood, and him and his family go into the ark as it starts raining, and they're in the ark and they get saved. But let's go right back before it starts raining. Right before it starts raining, God tells Noah, build the ark. Now, Noah's not near the ocean. He's not near some big body of water. But he's living in the present moment, and he's able to hear God's voice, and he starts doing it. Because imagine what the rest of the people in town are saying. Yeah, have you seen this crazy Noah? He's over there building this big boat in the backyard. Imagine if you start building in your backyard. I'm sure the neighbors would talk, right? And people, thousands of years ago are no different than they are today. But Noah was confident in what God was asking of him, and so he lived in that present moment. He was able to hear God's voice and to then do it, to do what it is that he needed to do. Because he wasn't worried about living in the future or living in the past, but living in the present moment. I think that's the key for us. The key for us is not worried about future anxieties that will come or the future joys that will happen, or living in the past regrets, but living in the present moment, especially as we begin this Advent season. Because the temptation is to jump ahead for Christmas, to jump ahead to the birth of Jesus, which is a good thing and a beautiful thing, and it will come. And the season is hard to stay in the moment because everything wants us to just jump to Christmas. We have the parties at work and with our families. We have Christmas music on the radio. We have it all over the place shouting Christmas. But Jesus invites us today to stay in this time of preparation, to prepare well for the coming of Christ. And so I want to give a couple practical ways to do that. I think the first is this Advent season is to pray every day, to make it a habit of prayer, 5 to 10 minutes, because oftentimes we forget to do it. It becomes on the back burner, becomes something that we push away when we get busy. The season is going to be busy, but make sure you make that a central aspect of it. The second thing is, we did this growing up. I loved it. We would come together as a family for dinner every night. And during Advent, we would have an Advent wreath we put on the table. And we'd light the candles as the Advent season went through. And my dad or mom would pray just a short prayer meditation out of one of the different prayer books you can get for Advent before we would have our meal together, before we'd have dinner. And so to pray and to do something with the people you live with, your family, your friends, those whom you love, because it's easy to forget to pray with those whom we're with. I think these are two ways in which we can prepare well for the coming of Christ, so we can stay present in this moment. When I grabbed that piece of turkey that my brother had cut off, had just carved, it was good. But about 10 minutes later, 20 minutes later, it was even better when it was mixed with all the other things that are on the Thanksgiving plate. The stuffing and the cranberry sauce and the gravy and the mashed potatoes, because that's where it was meant to be enjoyed. Christmas is going to be great, and it's going to be amazing when we get there, but to stay present in this moment, to prepare well for the coming of Christ.